Okay, so I really want to speak my piece about something that's been floating around the Nintendo sphere for months now, and it's related to two of the biggest rumored Switch games for 2022. Those are ports of Wind Waker and/or Twilight Princess HD, and the remake/remaster of the original Metroid Prime. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're talking about why I think an HD Zelda port is likely, and why, in my opinion, it makes more sense to land this year than the highly rumored Metroid Prime remake. 2022 is a stacked year already, but the lack of a traditional Nintendo Direct during the months of June and July makes me think there could still be one or two unknown first-party announcements on the horizon. Either a Zelda HD Remaster, Metroid Prime Remake, or even both could make sense to help close out the year. First, let's talk about Zelda. With the news of Breath of the Wild sequel being delayed into spring 2023, it's possible that another Zelda offering could be shifted up on the calendar to fill in that gap. Something less intensive to develop, like a Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD, makes a lot of sense as this kind of stopgap title. Most of the major Wii U games have made their way over to Switch in one way or another, and it's not a stretch to imagine that a port of at least one of these two has been greenlit already. These are classic titles that have already been remastered once. Those remasters could come over to Switch as is and be sold for full price. Plus, being Zelda games, they will likely sell extremely well no matter what. Just look at Skyward Sword HD as an example. However, based on recent rumors, a remake of Metroid Prime seems to be the one people are hanging their hats on, and for good reason. A Metroid Prime remake, like Zelda, would be a great addition to Nintendo's lineup for the later part of the year. It's a more hardcore title that would be a great complement to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet during that November-December holiday timeframe. Plus, some credible names in the industry seem to be confirming its existence. But of course, nothing is truly confirmed until Nintendo says it themselves. And that's why I'm going against the grain here and saying that the Metroid Prime remake might just be a myth. Now let me just clarify right away. Personally, I would be hyped for a Metroid Prime remake. We're talking about one of my favorite games of all time here. I want to play it again in any capacity, and a full-on remake would absolutely blow my mind. And I don't even care if we end up getting a straight-up port of the GameCube game. If Metroid Prime does come to Switch in any way, I am gonna be all over it. But despite the fact that I'm a huge Metroid fan and will be rooting for this game all the way, I still don't think it's gonna happen. Why? Well, first of all, I have to mention how great the original game looks and feels. I honestly can't think of a 20-year-old game that needs a remake less than Metroid Prime. Having played through the game recently, I can say from experience that the game feels as good today as it did back in 2002. And that sentence right there is one that can't be said very often. I'm not saying a Prime remake is a terrible idea, because it's not, but for me, all the dots don't really connect. Why put all the time and effort into remaking the first game from the ground up when you could simply bring over the Prime trilogy? All three Prime entries still look and feel great, and by bringing those over, Switch owners would have access to the entire series just in time before Metroid Prime 4 inevitably releases. This would be a great move to expose those who might have missed the Prime games before to the games that will lead up to their big new entry. Plus, let's talk about the biggest reason I'm skeptical about the Prime remake. We all know that the aforementioned Prime 4 is being worked on right now. It's also known that Retro Studios is the team working on the game. So, unless a totally separate developer is working on the Prime remake, don't you think that Retro is a little preoccupied with Prime 4, a game that's already behind schedule, to be able to ship a whole other Metroid Prime game during that time? I understand that the remake could very well be developed by another internal team, or Retro could even be working on both games simultaneously, but to be completely honest, to me, this seems a little far-fetched. What do you think? Are you sold on the Metroid Prime remake? Do you think it will arrive this year? How about Wind Waker or Twilight Princess HD? Which one would you like to see become available on Nintendo Switch? Let me know in the comments section. And one more thing before I go, this entire discussion was all speculation. Both of these games could very well not even exist. So naturally, there's not a lot of concrete info to help feed the theories. But either way, it's a ton of fun to speculate about. And whatever happens, I'll be ready for it. If you enjoyed this discussion video, be sure to subscribe for more quality Nintendo content like this. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.